and my family. It is Baking Wednesday, and so currently I have 18 pounds of butter that I am turning into ghee. I am so loving this bee. We have been out for a couple weeks, and I am trying Azure Standards butter. This is actually called the Mother's Choice, and it's a 16 ounce 1 pound box. I have to say, this is the best, and smells so amazing, the best butter we have had yet. So I'm currently going to be doing our ghee, and we are going to be doing something today called Simit. It is a Turkish bagel. It is actually really good, y'all. So if you give me a half a chance, I'm teaching you new types of bread. We are going to be using fresh milled grains for me, but I can also tell you that I will be, you can convert this recipe using bread flour as well. You want to use a high protein flour, and bread flour, if you're going to use the American flour, is the best way to go. Otherwise, I am going to be using hard white wheat for this one. So, let me go ahead. We're going to show you how we're straining off our ghee, because this is first 6 pounds and I still got several pounds to go. So let's get started this day, y'all. This is the prettiest color I have seen yet. So I'm actually reached down to the nothing but the pure fat, and I'm straining off any of the solids that may be floating on this, because I'm getting ready to fill my jars, and I will be sealing these off, and this way I get nothing but pure clarified butter, which that's all ghee is. And this coming from Azure, I think if I'm going to do my ghee from now on, I'm going to buy my cases. Now it's actually not cheap. It was $84 for 18 pounds, but honestly I'm getting better quality to make my ghee with than I ever did anywhere else. So I'm just doing this. I got my jars heating in the oven in a pan with some water, and as soon as we get this done, we are going to start on our first baking. I also need to make some fresh milled oatmeal cookies, and possibly some peanut butter cookies for hubby. So, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and we will be right back. Okay, y'all, so I got to tell you my experience with the with the Azure's butter. I'm going to tell you, this has more cream to this than water, and it has got more fat. I have the best amounts of ghee I have literally seen since starting to do this. Honestly, if I usually use Sam's Club's butter, and 6 pounds will usually get me almost 6 4-ounce jars. I use 6 pounds of this butter from Azure, and I am literally sitting here with 10 4-ounce jars. Needless to say, y'all, I will be freezing some of this butter for another round of ghee, because we will absolutely have more than enough to stick in our refrigerator to keep us going. This is exactly what we wanted. We wanted a restock, and this is a way to go. And I'm going to be honest, this is probably going to be the only way we will actually from now on stock our ghee. I love this beautiful golden color we got. I love the quantity we're getting out of this. The quality we're getting out of this is amazing. So yeah, this is going to be the way to go for us from now on. Let me see if I can lift this up for you. This is really hot, y'all. So look how pretty golden honey color that is. This is an amazing jars of ghee. Now, we do not can this. I'm sorry, y'all, I don't. Now, they will probably seal as they cool off, but we store our ghee in the refrigerator, and honestly, they will last a very long time. So we have plenty enough to work with. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this off. I'm thinking about doing maybe one more round, and then the rest of this butter I'm going to freeze so that we can, if should we get low again, I do have enough to turn around and do another stock. Okay, y'all, so a little history about the flour from the Middle East or the Mediterranean. So technically, we overprocess our flour here in the United States, where in Turkey or other areas, they literally have the same grains that I'm fixing to use today. Turkey grows their own grain, so it makes sense that they mill their own as well. So most of the time in any of the recipes that you're going to see in the Mediterranean, real Mediterranean, or like where I'm going with Turkey and Istanbul, this is what they're using. So we're going to measure this up and see if it's going to equal out the same thing that I am learning about this bagel from Turkey. It looks absolutely amazing. Now, I tried this once, but the last time I did it with store-bought flour. Again, it calls for all-purpose flour, but the all-purpose flour that they are talking about, literally, because this is a recipe from Turkey, they're actually talking about the milled wheat, which generally is soft white wheat or soft red wheat. It's a high-protein flour. In America, a high-protein flour for us would not be all-purpose. It would be the bread flour. So, I am kneading about 5 to 6 cups of flour. Now, the other part of this is most generally, now I need probably less flour than you would. This is going to be tricky because I am learning how to use fresh milled flour, okay? And so I'm going to caution you as well. We want a soft texture, so we're going to go base by, the recipe says 5 to 6 cups. Now, I could end up having to put more or less than using the store-bought because my flour will absorb so much more liquid than what you would over at the grocery store's flour. So it could be a half a cup difference. So I'm going to show you step by step the textures and see if this will help you. But for right now, I am going to mill about 5 cups of hard white wheat. So we'll be right back. Alright, y'all, so I am going to use my NutriMill Harvest mill. I'm also going to do this a little at a time. The last time I just kept throwing, I did a big batch and I just kept throwing it in here. I will tell you, I overheated my stone. I don't ever want to do that again. So I do mine in sections, and then if it's a big thing like I'm doing now, I will probably cool mine off a little bit before I do this again. So what I need to do now, I could right now go get my NutriMill or my Wonder Mill and do everything all at once. My Wonder Mill will throw this out, you know, give us the amazing flour super quick. But I like this one because I can get a little bit more finer flour than I can with the stone than I can with the steel blades from the Wonder Mill. So again, what I need to do, and these cups, I did order some more. Let me go ahead and show you our setup with our grains, by the way, and let you know what I've done since we started milling. Okay, my family, so we have in this section here of this wall, we've got our hard white wheat, hard red wheat, soft wheat. And then as we come down the other side of this wall, we have our einkorn over here, we have our emmer, we have our spelt, and we have our kamut. Y'all, I have every grain you can think of, and I am super stoked about this. It took me some time, but I ordered everything from Azure, and we are ready to rock and roll of making any source that we could think of every kind of bread. I also want to give a shout out to Mary Ruth. Thank you, honey, for mail call, y'all. Mary Ruth sent me some Mediterranean citrus. Bless her heart. She sent me a note that said I didn't have to make my own. Miss Mary, I don't mind making my own, but thank you so much. I greatly appreciate this because I love Mediterranean spices. They're just absolutely amazing. So, God bless you, darling. Let's get back to cooking. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this one again. I'm going to turn this on. Now, I'm not going to keep this on because it will get kind of loud. But I'm going to take my knob and turn it towards my grinder just until I hear it. Just like that. Now I'm going to add my grain. Okay, y'all, so I have done 3 cups of wheat berries. I'm going to go and stop right now, let this cool off some. I still have 2 more cups to go. It could be just me, but I don't want to overheat my stone, so I'm going to go and do my farm work, come back and mail up the last 2, and we're going to see if this is cup for cup. 5 cups of wheat berries, does that equal 5 cups of flour? So these are my experiments. I need to check, and it looks like I need to refill my container anyways. I also need to refill my kamut. Okay, y'all, so I am going to try to break this recipe down the best way I can, and I will write it down for you, but I'm going to explain as I go. So we need about 200 milliliters of warm water. That comes out to be anywhere from 3/4 to 1 cup. I'm using 1 cup. The same with the milk. It comes down to 200 milliliters, the same as that. I measured it and it came out to be 3/4 of a cup on me. So it's give or take. So I'm using 1 cup of water, and I'm using 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. Now, in some countries, 1 tablespoon basically will equal 1 package of active dry yeast from your grocery store here in the United States. So it's 1 tablespoon or 1 package. Okay, I had to find my measuring spoons. I have things, I tend to start projects and then I don't know where everything is at. So I'm going to activate my 1 tablespoon of my yeast into my warm water, and I'm going to use 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. I'm actually not going to use that much. It's just to feed the yeast, so I'm going to add a tablespoon of it. It's not really for flavoring. Now I'm going to mix this all together right now. Activate my yeast. Once it's activated at about maybe 5-10 minutes, we're going to come back and add the rest of the ingredients to the liquid form, and then we're going to do the dry. Okay, I am going to be using my KitchenAid mixer for this too, just to put it together. After that, I'm going to use my hands to knead with it. The reason for that is yesterday I was helping a young lady who's expecting and due any time. Bless her heart. We had our Azure order come in, and I helped her load up her vehicle, but somehow with my pinky I felt something pop. It burned and went all the way up to my elbow. Y'all, I don't know what that was, but it hurt. So it's kind of sensitive right now, so I'm going to use my mixer to mix it up, and then we're going to knead it that way. Y'all, I forgot to turn this off, so unfortunately you got bumped around. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. So actually we are starting to see some activity into our yeast. So we're going to go ahead and finish the rest of our ingredients. We're going to add a 1/4 cup or so of olive oil to this. We're going to add our 200 milliliters of warm milk as well. And we're going to add 1 egg, to which I'm going to use a farm fresh egg. Y'all, sometimes I get to working things and I forget, so I apologize for shifting you around like that. Alright, let me get oh Lord, I'm making a mess, y'all. Okay, so we're going to just lightly break up our egg, mix this up, and we're going to set that aside. This is now going to be mixed in with our flour mix. Now here's where I'm going to go ahead and add about 5 cups of flour for right now. I need to rinse or dry this off. We're going to add that to our, well, at least up to 3 right now, so I can mix it with my mix. And then we'll add that from there. So 1, 2, 3, because we're going to use anywhere from 5 to 6 cups of flour for this. Mind you, I am using fresh milled, so you may be using something else. I need a 1/2 teaspoon of, or 2 teaspoons, sorry, of salt. So we're going to go ahead and add that as well. I am using Himalayan sea salt. It's what I prefer. Well, 1 and there's 2. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, mix this back together, and we're going to add this to our flour mix. I like to scrape down my sides to get everything, because this could go where I need more liquid or more flour. So we're going to see how this works. In the meantime, I'm just going to take a mixing stick. Hang on just 1 minute. Okay, I'm just going to mix this together right first with my mixing stir, or bakery stir. And I know I'm going to add more flour to this, there's no doubt. I'm just going to get it started, and then we're going to put in our hook, and then we're going to go in there from there. What we are looking for is a soft dough that's just tacky but not sticky. We do not want it super tough either. We want light Simit or Turkish bagels. So I need my hook. Let me find my hook and we'll be right back. Alright, so we got our hook. So we're going to start this on low at first. I already see I'm going to be adding some more flour to this. So, but I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup at a time now. I have 3 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1/2 cup at a time. Now once I get the consistency I need, I'm going to come back and show it to you. I will finish kneading this on my board. Okay y'all, so it's very sticky at the moment, but we've got it where it has come together. So I'm going to let this sit covered up for about 5 minutes and let this absorb the liquid at first. And then once we get that done, we'll come back, see how much more flour we need before we start kneading. Okay, so I'm not sure if I specified or not. I did 5 cups of hard white wheat berries, and I actually got about 7 cups of flour. So that left me enough to work with if I needed more. And if I don't, that's fine, because what I end up doing is I'll put mine in a freezer bag. I'll put it in the freezer, and I'll use it for other things like my sourdough feed, or I'll use it for when I need it to bread, like our tomatoes, our fried green tomatoes and stuff like that. I use my extra. I do lose nutrients from it after a while, but I keep it just a tad bit longer in my freezer So it gives me time to use it up in there, and I'm not wasting my flour. I don't ever throw it away. So I find other uses for it. Now, I do understand that this makes me rather a unique homesteader who's using literally Mediterranean foods in the United States, and in foods basically not many of us are used to. But the reason I do it is because like I've told you in many videos before, I highly agree about bringing joy to our table. Especially something that has a lot of flavor. There are so many things out there, and here's something for me. I would love to travel to the Mediterranean or Middle East or anywhere just to be able to try some of the food that is out there. But reality says, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. What I can do is bring it to my kitchen. I am a self-taught chef who absolutely loves food. I'm a foodie, y'all. And for that, I don't want just our American Burger King burgers. I've had my share of that. I've had my share of macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes, and I've had my fair share of that. But that's not what I want. I want to try food from different places. So therefore, this is why I present it to you as well, because maybe there is someone else like me who just wants something different. Maybe we need to change our palates and give it some excitement into flavors maybe we have never known before. So therefore, this is a reason why I present food like this to you. I know some of you may look at me and go, "Oh, Miss Carrie, I love you, but this just isn't for me." And I understand that, y'all. But seriously, I just want to be able to bring something good to our tables, because look, let's be honest. If you were to compare the United States with the Mediterranean, I'm going to tell you, health-wise, we're going to fail. They are super healthy in the Mediterranean. So if I'm going to learn Mediterranean food, I'm going to learn how to do it all the way around. And even using the fresh milled flour, which is no big secret. Honestly, y'all, this is what they use. They use whole, real grains in the Mediterranean. They're not used to this stuff that we're able to buy at the grocery store. So, I mean, maybe there's a reason why they're so healthy. So I just thought I'd fill that in just a little bit, because we are now ready to go ahead and check our dough and see if we need any more flour. If so, we're going to add just a tiny bit, and we're going to get ready to knead this. Okay, y'all, so I have about 4.5 to 5 cups of flour in here, and I'm able to touch this. So it looks like this was a plenty enough, and I'm going to now be able to take this out, and we are going to start kneading this for about 3 to 4 minutes. We want a pliable, soft dough. Now, I told you I was keeping an eye on this because I don't want to overdo it, because we want some soft simit. So we're going to go ahead and take this out, and we're going to switch you around for kneading it. Alright, y'all, so far, I'm just going to tell you, so far from what I'm experiencing, they are definitely using this fresh milled stuff, because this is coming out almost perfect to the consistency of what was shown to me on how they do this. So, I mean, look, it's coming together beautifully, and I don't even have to, at this point, add any more flour to this. I'm able to work with it. So we're going to sit here and knead this. I'm actually going to pull it out of my bowl here. Put it here because I'm going to be able to work with it right here. So I'm just going to knead this for about 3 to 4 minutes. We want a nice, soft, pliable dough. And once we get that done, we will come back and I will show you what our next steps are. Okay, y'all, so we now have, oh, look at that beautiful, beautiful dough. Oh my word, y'all, this is absolutely amazing. And I've told y'all I have a cookbook, and I'll show that to you in a minute. But in the meantime, right now this is ready, so we're going to let this rise till doubled for about an hour. So I'm gonna put this into a bowl and we'll be right back. All right, y'all, for me, I lightly oiled my bowl, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my Simit inside of here, or my Simit dough actually, and then we're just gonna go ahead and cover this. I am going to use my beeswax cover on this one, and we're gonna let this sit for an hour. In the meantime, we're gonna toast our sesames, because we definitely want toasted sesames for this. It just adds another flavor. It's not necessary, it just adds an amazing flavor to your Simit. Okay, y'all, so I'm going to go ahead and toast my sesames while I'm waiting for this dough to rise. I will tell you, I went and ordered my sesame seeds. They are organic from Azure Standards, and here is why. You can basically order sesame seeds on Amazon, which I have done that. And so I will show you my experience as to why I chose to go to Azure, because you're going to need anywhere from a half a cup to 1 cup of sesames for this sesame seeds for this recipe. But I'm going to show you my example of why I went to Azure and stepped away from, well, I stepped away from Amazon. Number one, it was a little bit too expensive. Azure, I mean, they have, it's high, but it's not as high for the quality that I get. So let me just show you. Okay, y'all, so see if you can see the color difference. This jar here came from Amazon, and I will give you a closer look at this. These seeds are pretty tiny. Let me get it where you can actually, there you go. They're tiny, and this is actually dirty. It's dusty, it's dirty, and it just did not have a pleasant flavor. If I was going to do anything with these, I'm probably going to use them for planting, and that's it. Because look at this one from Azure Standards. Now the seeds, they're a little bit more plump. This is a nice lighter color and so much more pleasant than this jar right here. So this is the reason why I chose to go to Azure for my sesame seeds. Alright, so I'm going to do this on low. I do not want this high because I don't want to burn my sesame seeds. I just want to toast them. And as far as that other one, even if I choose not to grow with those seeds, because I don't even think they'll be pliable to grow with, I could even just feed it to the birds, making bird feed out of it. So alright, so I'm going to start with a half a cup of sesame seeds in my pan. And I'm just going to leave this a dry pan. We do not want any oil or nothing. The sesames will have their own oil. If I need more, I can always add more. So I'm just going to go ahead and lightly toast these. And then we're going to set it aside to cool off, because we're going to use these to coat our Simit with. This is, y'all, I'm telling you, this is going to be so good. Okay, y'all, so I have now my sesame seeds are lightly toasted, so I'm going to set these aside. I have my baking pan ready for my Simit with parchment paper, and I have my oven preheating at 400 degrees. Now, they use Celsius, which is about 200 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit, that comes out to be 392, so the closest I could see is about 400 degrees on that for us. So, and considering mine doesn't go to 492, I'm going to go at 400, and I'm going to keep my eye on it. So now I'm going to go turn this off, and I'm going to set my sesame seeds aside. I did this because, one, I want that toasted flavor, and two, if you don't decide to toast your sesame seeds, that's fine, but just know that they may come out white, untoasted, and it just gives you a little more enhanced flavor if you toast your sesame. So but it's not necessary or demanding. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this aside because we're going to use this to coat our Simit in. And we'll be back as soon as our dough is ready. Alright y'all, so our dough is now definitely doubled in size, and we're getting ready to cut this down or break it down into 10 pieces. Before I did that, we are having some of this Simit tonight, and I'm actually making 10 of these. Now, reason for it is I'm going to be able to put some in the freezer because I have some really good friends I want to introduce this to. Also, I made my own homemade Italian mozzarella balls in olive oil. So we're going to have some of that with our turkey burgers tonight. We are basically having a Mediterranean bowl, using this for our bread source, some turkey burgers, some cheese, because Simit, which I will explain in the end, what and how you can use this. So we will be right back. Okay, y'all, so I need to break this down into 10 pieces. Oh my gosh, y'all, this is amazing dough. I think this is the best I have had as far as using fresh milled flour in a dough form ever. So I'm going to weigh this out, and the reason for it is so that I can make sure that I have equal amounts of sections for 10, and I'll show you how I do this. So I'm sitting here at 1189 grams. 1189. Now I'm going to divide this by 10, and I'm going to need about 119 grams each for my 10 pieces. So we're going to cut this up. Get my pastry cutter here, and cut it to about 119. Ooh, that's a little too much. Just a fraction more. One more. Perfect. And that's 119. So now we just need to get the rest of these. Now I'm going to take this, and for now I'm going to form it into a ball. And I'm going to set it aside in my bowl while I get the rest of these cut up. And we should get 10 pieces out of this. So we'll come back and I'll tell you exactly how many I did get and if I did this right. So hopefully we did. Yeah, this takes a little bit, y'all, so we will be right back. Okay, y'all, so we did get 10 pieces, and now I'm going to show you how to make these. This is actually so cool. So we're going to take our rolls now, and we're just going to roll it into like a snake form. This is, again, like a bagel. My board on this might be just a tad bit too small, but we're gonna make it work. Okay, so then after we get our long piece, we're gonna bring it together, twist it up like a braid. Now you have two pieces like this at the end. You're gonna take the end of this one and join these two, like meet them in the middle like this, sandwich it in there, roll it, pretty much form it in there, and then just kind of roll it together, fusing it, and there is your pretty twisted Simit, just like this one right here. I'm gonna lay this aside because I'm gonna let these rest, because we're gonna do our next step, because we will have to stretch these just a tad bit. So I'm going to just go ahead and continue, and I'm going to show you how to do this again, just so you can see it. Roll this out into a snake. It's really not that hard, y'all. It takes a little time, but so does bread making. And let's be real, bread making always takes time, but it's so worth it. Bring it together, twist it. I I maybe add a little bit too more or you don't want to twist it really tight, just so you know. Sometimes I tend to do that a little bit. So I'm bringing them together, and then I'm going to roll it just like so. Yeah, I tended to tear that, so I don't want to do it that hard. And go ahead and do this again. If it gets to a point where they're a little bit too hard to roll, you might just want to let it rest for a couple minutes, let it relax, and then you can come back to it and finish them off. So I'll show you that end piece just a little bit better again. So we have our two ends here like our little rabbits. We're going to go ahead and twist our Simit, take our end and sandwich it between these two ends like a snake bite. You're going to take that snake bite right on top of it, and you're going to squeeze that bad boy together, infusing it, and then slightly roll it, and it keeps it intact together. Now you just made your Simit all together. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish these out, and once I get this done, we will be right back. Alright y'all, so here's what happened next. We need to make our liquid, which they actually, in Turkey they call this, it's like a grape, but it's actually pomegranate molasses instead of, but they call it grape molasses. But all it is just a half a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of pomegranate molasses. Now this is homemade for me. I do have videos out there. I will try to find the link to add to this video so that you can make your own as well if you are new. But I will go ahead and add that if I can. I know I'll find it. I'll spend time to find it for y'all so you can watch how to make this yourself. Now all I need to do is get my mixer or whisk, and I'm going to whisk this mix together really well. Incorporate that molasses into our water, and this is what we are going to soak our Simit in, and then take and coat them in our sesame seeds. And then we're going to lay it aside and let it rest, because we're going to stretch them just a little bit and then leave them sit for about 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to bake these. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and we'll be right back. Okay y'all, so I'm going to show you how to do this. Make sure I got this really good. Now I want to try to free up one hand where it's not getting wet, because I need the other one to work with our sesame over here. So I'm going to use this one here to sit and coat our Simit into our pomegranate juice. We're going to shake it off, and then we're going to come here, and then we're going to coat our Simit with our sesame. Now if you didn't want to use sesames, you can use sunflower seeds as well. Oh, goodness, that's so beautiful, y'all. So now I've got it coated. I'm going to pick this up, and we're going to take it to our pan. Let that sit for a few minutes, and we're going to go ahead and coat the rest of these and show you what we're going to do next. Okay y'all, so now at this point we've got them all coated. Now I have to have 5 per pan, because these are going to have to be stretched now. So I'm just going to take them a little bit here and just pull them, let them just drape around the circle and stretch them out a little bit, just like so. And we're going to lay it down. We're going to let this rest for about 20-25 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and bake them. But you don't want to force it to stretch either. You just want it to kind of drape down and let it do itself to stretch, just like so. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to all 10 of my Simit, just like this. Just super simple, y'all. We're just taking them and letting it stretch on its own. Take the bigger sides and just let it droop down a little bit, just like so. Then lay it down, and then we'll go on to the next one, just like this. And that one there is just, yeah. I got that one just a little bit too fat. So, alright, now I'm going to let this pan sit. We're going to work on our next one. We'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so now we're going to let these rest. I have both pans stretched out. That one there and this one here. Y'all, this is exciting. So we're going to let these rest. And in the meantime, I do want to show you something. I have a surprise. I did manage to find a small batch. I was asked, would I teach everybody how to can my green tomatoes that I use for my fried green tomatoes all winter. I happened to find some fairly small size, which I need. So we will probably do this extremely soon. I do not want to sit and let these ripe. So I will be doing a canning session on how to can pickling green tomatoes for frying for the winter. So be ready for that, y'all. I was asked and I tried to do what I'm asked. So I can't say I can do it every time, but this time I was able to. So I'm going to let my Simit rest, and once it rests, we're going to put it in the oven and we will be back. Alright, y'all, so some tips on how I got my Simit dough so nice. Number one, start with the minimal. If the recipe calls for 5 cups of flour, start with 4. Start adding a little at a time until you get that right consistency. I will tell you, when it comes to fresh milled flour, you want to give it at least a good 5 minutes after mixing it to allow it to absorb all the liquid to know where you're going to go from there. So that is one tip I will give you. As this one here needed about 4.5, 5 cups. Now that was very close to the original Turkish recipe, and that's what I've been doing, using a recipe from Turkey. And so they're pretty much spot on, y'all. So I know that this is the flour that they are using. The second part of it is, when I milled it fine, and this came out beautiful. So we are about ready to pop these in the oven. Now what I'm going to look for when I put them in here is I'm going to look for them to be crispy on the outside and nice and soft on the center. We want a nice golden color to these. So we don't want to get them too dark or nothing. We just want a nice golden color. And we want that outside to have a crunch. If I can succeed to getting that crunch, I made the perfect Turkish Simit. So let's see what we can do. So yeah, I told y'all I was going to show you the book where I'm getting the Norwegian bread. This one right here is another one that is using fresh milled flour. So I'm going to be trying some of the recipes in there. As a matter of fact, the lady who actually loaned me this book, she is the one I'm making some of this Simit to for. So we will be trying some of these recipes in here with the fresh milled wheat berries that I have here of the assortment, because in this book there's an assortment. The only thing I don't have is rye, but other than that we've got a good selection. So let's see what we can do about making not your ordinary breads, y'all. Now I do have my Pullman recipe, which I absolutely love. We're going to keep that. It makes great breadcrumbs as well. But I want to be able to incorporate good Mediterranean bread, not just our all-American. So that's what this homestead is going to start incorporating, some good authentic Mediterranean foods. Okay, y'all, so our Simit. Let me go ahead and give you a closer look, and then we're going to do the crunch test. That is our beautiful golden colored, see, I'm bringing this in just a little bit more, golden colored Turkish Simit. And so we're going to test it out and see if we can get that crunch. Okay, I'm going to try and get this close to the camera as much as possible. Now these are warm, I will tell you. So, and I'm going to see if I can taste test this, but let's see if we can get that crunch. Oh, yes, it does. Ooh, Lord, y'all. It just flakes apart, just like so. Perfect. Now, I will explain to you just a minute. We're going to do, oh my gosh, y'all, this is beautiful. So let me try this. Alright, y'all, I will tell you, it is best for my oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. I did halfway through turn to make sure it gets evenly coated. How do you eat Turkish Simit or Simit? It's simple. Basically, they like to eat these as breakfast, but they're made for a snack anytime, they say. What they like to serve with these is, which I just tried it with that homemade marinated mozzarella balls. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. So you can serve it with cheese, tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes, hummus, olive oil, pretty much cream cheese. Any of these things would make a fantastic side to go with the Simit. You can even use labneh if you were into going that far into Mediterranean like I do. So these are just some ideas, but they say that Simit is just like the bagel in New York City. This is their breakfast or snack or anytime, and we're going to use this tonight with our supper. So I hope you enjoyed this. I will put the recipe in the description box below. Again, remember, if you don't have fresh milled, you're not out of the woods. You can do this recipe as well. Again, I will tell you, it is a different consistency. Use bread flour and start with the less amount, such as maybe start with 3 cups of flour and go from there. You want a non-sticky, slightly tacky, but non-sticky dough that you can work with, that is pliable and soft. So I hope this was an interesting recipe for you, something that you might want to consider to put at your table, something new from the Mediterranean itself. And until next time, much love. Hope you enjoyed this Baking Wednesday with me, and we will see you again from Parton's Heritage Homestead.